Hey, what's up, YouTube? I've been told the best camera is the one you have with you, and the best camera I have today is my iPhone and this guy. But you can't vlog with that because it's way too heavy. It's like 6 pounds now. So today I've been looking at the Rokinon 14mm photo lens. I kind of dug it out of the gear closet, and I'm kind of falling back in love with it, which is pretty cool. It's not a particularly sharp lens, but it still kicks. It's really good. So I threw it on the C300, and well, here's some shots. Okay, so this is not my normal setup, but I'm going to be talking about this lens right here. You're watching right here on this screen is the Rokinon 14mm. So I'm back from my walk, and I am doing just the talking head bit with the Rokinon 14mm. I think I've used this once or twice before, just because it's got a nice f2.8 aperture. But I'm going to talk about my findings about this lens and what I liked about it and what I did not like about it. One thing I did like about the lens was that it had an f2.8 aperture, which was really nice. I could get kind of a shallow depth of field, but the problem with the f2.8, kind of going into the cons now, is that everything was very soft. So I really had to stop it down to f5.6 and even f8 to get rid of a lot of the chromatic aberration on the edges and just kind of some of the general edge sharpness of it. So in that respect, I didn't like it as much, and it wasn't kind of like the creamy bokeh that you get with a lot of the old vintage glass. It was just kind of like this gross chromatic aberration. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of subjective, but I didn't like it as much. One thing I do like about this lens, though, transitioning back to pros, is how it kind of lets me fill the frame with the whole room. So for an interior like this, just kind of, in my apartment, I really like the way I can kind of just be, kind of mid in the frame right here. And it's interesting still. It's the YouTuber look right now, or I guess that's what I call it. But I really like the way it looks, just for talking heads. I'm really partial to wide, 18mm style lenses, as long as they don't have too much distortion. And going back to the cons, I think that's basically the pitfall of this lens, is the distortion characteristics as your subject gets further to the edges like this. It's kind of distracting, and I don't want to distract my audience with things being too distorted towards the edges and kind of bowing like that. Now, a lot of even really professional lenses, like anamorphic lenses, actually have that characteristic, but I don't know what it is, but the way the anamorphic look kind of renders with a lot of focus breathing and a lot of imperfections, you kind of forget about the distortion characteristics. Whereas with this lens, it's just really in your face. And in that way, I don't like it. So I don't know, it's hard. I don't really know what the difference is between a cheap photo lens, like a manual lens, kind of like this one, and a vintage lens, because mechanically, they can be pretty similar, and this lens has less coatings than a lot of more pro photo glass, similar to an old cinema glass. They have different coatings. I think that's a lot of what it comes down to. So in all, I like this lens for YouTube. but I don't really like this lens for walking around and getting wide shots. All the shots I got with this lens, I I did my best, but I didn't have a subject when I was walking around, so I used the bench as the subject and just, you know, had a plane fly over, but that was cool, but it wasn't the right subject for this lens. I think the right subject for this lens has to be people and their faces a lot of times. It's not a good landscape lens. You really want something that's nice and crisp and sharp for a landscape, I think. And even kit lenses can be sharper than this lens, I found. Like even the 18 to 55 kit lens that comes with like my old T3i is sharper than this lens. And I actually use that one for some of my vlog stuff. So that is my final thoughts on this Rokinon 14mm 2.8. Make sure to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see some more content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!